But let's move on. On the sidelines of the ongoing Global Fintech Fest, our colleague Ritu Singh exclusively caught up with Mr. Prashant Kumar, the CEO of Yes Bank, and spoke to him about deposit growth for the bank and the sector, the stake sale buzz, and also the job cuts. Let's hear out what he had to say.
This is definitely one thing which is a systemic issue, okay? Because either we take a call that loan growth has to be lower than the deposit growth. It means banks would not be prepared to support the kind of growth which country is aspiring for, okay? And so whether it has to be supported only by the bank or it can also be supported by the market instruments. But fundamentally, yes, if I think this kind of economic growth has to be supported by the bank, then the deposit growth has to be higher than the loan growth. And which is, in the current times, I would be saying, has been a struggle for the banks.
I wonder if you'd like to clarify, there have been some reports about, going back to the cost question and the question of profitability. The bank looking at restructuring of some jobs that may be affected. If you'd like to address, there were reports suggesting as many as 500 people were let go of. If that exercise is completed, or will there be more numbers?
No, I think it came in the newspaper. But if you see our investor presentation for Q1, actually we have added 500 people. So March 2024, it was 28,000. June 30th, it is 28,500. So it is not like people are going out. We are adding more and more people. But I think issue has to be seen more in terms of right kind of people for the right job. So if you are focusing on a particular business, you need to add people for that business. Okay? Similarly, whether you need to add people more on the sales side instead on the leadership. So I think the all institution would like to take a call where you have people more on the sales side. So if you are 20% plus deposit growth, you need to add on the sales side. So actually we are adding employees.
Yeah. And you're talking about 22% kind of deposit growth outlook for the year? Is that the number you maintain?
Yes, 22% and the CASA growth is 23%.
Yeah. Well, the other topic again, since we're talking about what's in the newspapers these days, is Yes Bank looking to give an exit, or rather, some of your largest investors, the banks that supported you through the reconstruction, now looking at an exit. Has the bank engaged in any bilateral conversations with any potential suitors? And, what sort of management changes in the offing? Are you looking at a 26% kind of a stake? Are you looking at a 51% kind of a sale? What should we expect?
No, I think I'm not the right person to answer. Because ultimately, this is the stake of the different banks. Okay? And I think that those banks would be in a better position to answer what they are going to do with that stake.
Sure.
As a bank, we can't decide. We can't take any call. So I think the banks who have invested in us, you can ask that question from them.
But, as the bank, as the CEO of the bank, have you held any discussions with any potential suitors? Because when you're talking about a change in management itself...
I think as a bank, I can't engage with any suitor. No? It's a stakeholder who has to engage with someone.
Because there have been reports suggesting whether it is Sumitomo Mitsui, whether it's MUFG, Emirates, NDB, lots of names,
It's very difficult to comment on all the newspaper reports. But fundamentally, it's the person who has that stake has to take all the calls.
Yeah. So you're not aware of any, decision to that extent, of course, because that impacts you.
So whenever we would be aware, I think we would disclose that appropriately.
If a foreign, owner was to come in, what sort of regulatory changes would that require? On one hand, there are the FDI regulations. While there's a 74% cap, individual foreign banks may not be able to hold more than 15%. RBI rules say the promoter entity will not have more than 26%. Individuals, again, have to go to RBI for approval. So, what sort of regulatory policy changes would this require for you to have that change in ownership?
No, I'm not aware. I'm not aware.
Well, let's then switch to the other acquisition that you have spoken about in the microfinance business, right, that you've been scouting for a while. How soon before we hear that?
No, I think this is what we were exploring. We have done last year also. But last year, the microfinance institution, they were in a very good shape. Yeah. And the price expectation, valuation expectation was altogether different. We were not having that capacity to do that. But I think that is something which we continue to explore.
Have talks been held with Spandana Spurti?
No, I'm not taking any name, but like wherever it is possible, we would try to explore.
But how soon before we hear something from you on this front? Because, you know, it's been ongoing for a couple of years.
Very difficult. If it is possible, I will like to do it as of yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay. But I think all these things take their own time, and you need to take a call in terms of valuation, your own capabilities. But this is important for us.
Okay, so that is the management of Yes Bank in a candid chat. Well, we need to take a short break, but up next.